Specialist in the Globe Implementation Office, and I am joined here with my distinguished colleague, Mike Jabot. Mike, would you like to introduce yourself? Say hello to the
Hi.
group.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Mike Jabbat. I'm at the State University of New York at Fredonia, and I am the Deputy Director of for Education at the Global Implementation Office.
Excellent. Thanks, Mike. And this is being recorded so that it will later be posted on the IVSS website. So if you would like to access it later, we'll send out that link. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you have questions along the way, please feel free to type those in the chat, and we'll keep an eye on those. We'll have time for questions at the end of this presentation as well. So thank you for joining us. This is our first informational webinar for the 2025 IVSS. And this year's theme, so this screen is showing some screenshots of photos that were included in last year's IVSS projects. This year's theme is 30 Years of Globe, Understanding the Past, Present, and Future. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. We're really excited for Globe's 30-year anniversary. But to start off, for those of you who are not familiar with the IVSS, the International Virtual Science Symposium is Globe's online symposium for students to share their Globe research with STEM professionals in the Globe community. And this is a great opportunity for students to get valuable feedback on their work from esteemed judges from all over the world. And the IVSS is open to all Globe students from kindergarten through or primary through undergraduate, so K through 16. And students' projects are rated based on rubrics for different grade levels. And to give you an idea of sort of the regional history of the IVSS, this is just a screenshot from the regional statistics page from our website. In 2024, we had 285 IVSS submissions, so record-breaking number of submissions, and you can see we've had a really strong participation from all of our Globe regions throughout the IVSS history, and we're really excited to build on that. So we're hoping to meet or exceed our participation this year. And the way that it works is students submit their projects. We'll talk about project criteria and requirements in just a minute. But the Globe Implementation Office first evaluates projects to make sure they include all of the required information before sending those projects along to judges. And the IVSS would not be the great program that it is without a team of volunteer judges. So this graphic shows the number of judges by region, by Globe region, since 2016. So our judges are scientists, teachers, STEM community members from all over the world who volunteer their time to provide feedback and score student projects. So I see some familiar names in the room. So thank you to everyone in the room who has served as a judge and to all of our previous judges. If you are interested in judging for the 2025 IVSS, we'll be sending out more information about that at a later date. So stay tuned about that. And to kind of circle back to our theme, we are really excited about the 30-year anniversary of Globe. And the IVSS is also part of the 30 Years of Globe field campaign. So I've got a screenshot of the 30 Years of Globe campaign here on the right, which is comparing Globe data past and present. And so you can visit that site to read more, but really one way that you can contribute or your students can contribute to this 30-year anniversary campaign is to access and analyze data from the Globe database to enrich your understanding of Earth system processes. So there are, and Mike can correct me on the numbers if I'm off, but there are millions, a quarter of a billion data points in the GLOBE database. So really a wealth of GLOBE data that's been collected over the past 30 years. So we really want to encourage students, scientists, STEM professionals to access the data in the GLOBE database, and particularly as part of the IVSS, incorporate that into their IVSS projects this year. So ways to do that are to compare historic GLOBE data to newly collected data, and of course, contribute to this database by entering your data and your students' data in the GLOBE database. And I've got a screenshot on the left here of the GLOBE visualization system, which is one way to access that data. This year for the 2025 IVSS, data analysis using historic GLOBE data is a required component. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but we really want students to get into the database and access and analyze this data, some historic data, as part of their projects this year. And we will have webinars. We will have another webinar in October that will help students and educators with accessing this data. And so this screen shows our timeline for the 2025 IVSS. Today is our sort of kickoff informational webinar. Reports will be accepted starting at the beginning of December through the 5th of March. So we'll have a project submission tool on our website where students can submit their IVSS projects. And then we will also be recruiting judges starting in December. So if you're interested in serving as a volunteer judge for the IVSS, keep an eye out. We'll send emails out and have that advertised through our Globe news brief. And then in March, we'll have a judging webinar for those volunteer judges. And the judging period is from the 19th of March through the 2nd of April in 2025. And then on Earth Day, we will have our Globe Earth Day broadcast and celebration. We will also announce the stipend recipients. So students, we'll talk about how students can earn a stipend for excelling on their IVSS projects. And students will also get feedback on their work on that date. So the feedback will be emailed out to teachers to share with your students. We will have a series of webinars to help students and educators with their IVSS projects this year. So today we're just kicking things off with some general information about the IVSS. On the 9th of October, we'll have a webinar to showcase how to access data from the GLOBE database, since that's a required component of this year's IVSS. And then in December, we'll talk through the badges and the criteria to earn different badges. And then we also will have a webinar in January that is really exciting. It's a collaboration with the Globe Field Campaign, 30 Years of Globe, showcasing ethical science and AI. And then in January, we'll walk through how to submit an IVSS project. There will be additional webinars aligned to this year's theme held in conjunction with the 30 Years of Globe Field Campaign. So thank you, Brian. I think I saw you put that link in the chat. That's super helpful. You can check back there for webinars throughout the year. All right, so let's talk about what an IVSS project entails. So I mentioned in one of the previous slides that the Globe Implementation Office evaluates each project as they come in to make sure they contain the required elements. And so those requirements are that each project has an abstract and a summary, a written research report, and an explanation for each badge. So students can earn up to 3 badges on their projects, but they need to explain how their work on the project, earns each badge, and then a presentation as well as photo release forms. And so I'll show you where to access more resources for each of these required components, but a little bit more on the IVSS presentation. Really, this is a platform for students to communicate their science to the reader and to the community. So we offer a variety of options for students to submit their presentation. You can see some students here presenting a poster. So a poster is a really great way for students to display their what they've done. They can also create a narrated presentation. So they might have a slideshow where they kind of walk through and present their work and include a video link along with that. Or they can also choose to create an ArcGIS story map to showcase their research and what they've done. Each year we have a drawing for stipends. So in order to be entered into the stipend drawing, students will need to earn 4 stars on their IVSS research project and earn the featured badge for 2025, which is the I am a data scientist badge. In addition to that, they need to receive 2 additional badges to be entered into the stipend drawing. So on Earth Day, when the feedback is released to students, all of the projects that meet these established criteria go into a randomized drawing, and we draw 1 project from each region and 2 projects from North America. So the student projects that are drawn from this random drawing will receive funds to help offset the cost of attending the 2025 Globe Annual Meeting that will be held in July. And so this meeting is a great opportunity for students to join other Globe students from around the world in the Globe student experience. During that week, they engage in a poster session where they present their work to other adults that are attending the meeting, as well as students. And they also have some really enriching opportunities throughout the week to conduct research and learn alongside their peers from all over the world. So this is a really great opportunity for Globe students who have really excelled in their IVSS projects. All right, so more information about the IVSS and resources can be found on our website. So I've got the full link here at the bottom of our screen, as well as a QR code for you. You can see here we've got additional links on the left side that will help students and educators explain a little bit more about the report requirements and how projects are judged, and provide some additional resources. These pages will be updated in the coming weeks to align with the 2025 theme. So please check back after today for some updated information here. And I just want to point out a couple resources here. So again, on the left, quick links. We've got resources for students. So each one of these little areas has a drop down where you can find more information about starting a research project. So, walking through the basics of how to develop a good research question, how to prepare a presentation. We also have an archive of webinars that are very helpful for students. So I encourage you, if you are just getting into learning about Globe and the IVSS, to visit these pages to learn more and to see our resources. And we also have a link there for report requirements. So the required components for the IVSS I mentioned earlier are a written report, an abstract, a presentation, and media release forms, and a description of badges. All of that information is outlined on our reports requirement page. So before your students start their IVSS projects, I highly recommend that you read through these pages and share this information with your students so they kind of know what to expect before they start their project. And a note on academic integrity. So as educators, we all know the importance of citing our work and for students doing the work. So that's, this is a student research symposium. So we really want to reinforce that student teams are responsible for writing their own report, preparing their own presentations, and conducting their research and analyzing their data. Of course, our teams are guided by educators and scientist mentors who we encourage to provide feedback and facilitate learning and offer additional instructional support. But really, we want to make sure that the students are writing their reports and doing the bulk of the work. And also, we'll have more guidelines on the website in terms of the ethical use of generative AI. So ChatGPT is the AI that most people are familiar with. So we will be explicit about what students may and may not use generative AI for. So students may not use ChatGPT to write their reports or to create any sort of presentation materials. Acceptable uses of AI may include the analysis of large data sets, such as predictive modeling or data processing, image analysis, and things like that. So if you have any questions, I'll have an email address at the end. You can reach out to us. But students may not, the big thing is that students may not use AI to write their reports. And then also students must acknowledge the work produced by others. So all projects must include a citation and a sources page. And if generative AI is used, that needs to be acknowledged in their projects as well. And I mentioned that students can earn badges as part of their IVSS project. So just a summary of that. So every student team that submits an IVSS project that passes, that goes on to the judging period, so they've included all the required components that I mentioned earlier, will receive the I am a student researcher badge. Students' projects are scored by at least 3 judges, and we take an average of those scores. So students can earn 1 to 4 stars on their project. So 4 stars is the maximum score. And their student researcher badge will reflect how many stars their project earned. And in 2025, we are asking that all students go for the I am a data scientist badge. This aligns with our theme for this year's IVSS, 30 years of GLOBE and accessing the GLOBE database to help understand the past, present, and future. So students must access and analyze data from the database in addition to newly collected data as part of their project this year. So we're asking that all students try to earn the data scientist badge. We'll have more information about this in our badges webinar and also on our website. And then in addition to that, we have other science badges that students may choose to apply for when they upload their project. So in their reports, they should describe kind of the scientific process or the practices they engaged with while completing their research to showcase how those badges were earned as they work on their project. And students can earn a maximum of 3 of the science badges. And then a minimum of 2 additional badges are required to be entered into the stipend drawing, and that includes the I am a data scientist badge. And a little bit more about you can see a screenshot here of the I am a student researcher badge with the stars above. So this would be an example of a badge earned for a 3-star project. And so this is the badge that all scored projects will earn. And this is a very generalized sort of view of what a 4-star versus a 1-star project would earn. We've got this explained more on the website. But in general, a 4-star project is really exceptional. So the students in the report go above and beyond the rubric criteria and expectations for that project. So it's clear and concise. Students are really analyzing data and making some predictions about the future and asking really good questions. A three-star project is a good project. It contains all the required elements, but students could go into a bit more depth or explanation to kind of put it over the top. And then you can see the two-star and one-star project. So two-star project it has a good amount of information, but maybe the report is incomplete or additional clarification is needed, or perhaps is missing one or more of the elements. And then a one-star project, the student teams put in a good effort, but it's missing significant information. And to highlight our badges for 2025, you can see a screenshot here on the left. This is our data scientist badge. So this is our highlight badge for 2025. So we're asking all students to produce work that can earn this badge. So that includes an in-depth analysis of data downloaded from the Globe database, as well as students' own data sources. So we'll have some detailed criteria for students to show, how to earn this badge. It will be on our badges webpage. But students need to discuss the limitations of the data and make inferences about past, present, or future events, or use the data to ask questions and solve problems in the represented system. And we also have a new badge for 2025, which is really exciting. So students can earn the I Am an Earth System Scientist badge for clearly describing the interconnectedness of Earth spheres on the research question and applying multiple GLOBE protocols or GLOBE protocol bundles to investigate the research question. To earn this badge, the research team needs to clearly explain the interconnected nature of the Earth systems on their research questions and the processes that influence one another through the analysis and interpretation of GLOBE and or other Earth science data. And I see questions coming in through the chat. We'll address those at the end. Thank you all for those. I'm getting to the end of my presentation here, but the languages that are accepted, we accept projects in English, Thai, Spanish, French, Arabic, Portuguese, and Croatian. If there's a language that your students might be submitting a project in and it's not listed here, please reach out to us and we can see whether we have volunteer judges who can score those projects. And if your students are submitting a project in a language that is not English, please translate key section titles of the reports. This is listed on the reports requirement page. So we need to see that there's a method section, an intro section, and all of the required sections just to help us as we triage the projects to make sure they contain all of the required components. And in addition to this webinar will be recorded and posted on our 2025 IVSS page. We also have some archived webinars from the past, IVSS. So we've got the Globe Data Science Introduction Q&A. We've got a great webinar on mapping Globe data and incorporating ArcGIS and story maps. How to create an effective science poster, how to develop a good research question, and then a really interesting one on STEM storytelling. So in the student resources section of our website, you can access some of these archived webinars, and they're all of the past Globe webinars are also on the YouTube channel. And then just some common questions. Who can judge projects? So we have a minimum of 2 STEM professionals. So each project is scored by 3 judges who are all professionals in the STEM community. So we try to have a minimum of 2, but all projects have had 3 in the past. Judges can be teachers, graduate students, community members, alumni, scientists. We've got a great network of volunteer judges. And they do not need to be part of the International STEM Network, the GISN. So if you know somebody or you yourself are not part of the GISN, but you would like to score projects, we welcome you to join our team of volunteer judges. And if you are interested in joining the GISN, we encourage that too. So we can share more information after this webinar if you are interested in that. Sometimes we get questions about, why the instructions aren't translated into more languages. We currently have Spanish and Arabic, but we need translators to translate those materials. So if you are interested in translating, please let us know. And do I have to pick optional badges to be eligible for the stipend drawing? And the answer to that is yes. So the I am a data scientist badge is required for all 2025 projects. And the students will also receive the I am a student researcher badge. So students need to earn at least those 2 badges and 1 additional badge to be eligible for the stipend drawing. And students who have never participated in a science fair, this is a great opportunity to take part in sharing their research with others. So we have a lot of resources available for new participants. So we encourage you to check out our website for more information on that. And younger kids can participate as well. So K through undergraduate, we've got rubrics for different grade levels. So please encourage your lower primary students and teachers to join. And I'll leave you with this quote from one of our IVSS students from last year who attended the Globe annual meeting. Diego, who said, participating in the IVSS was an unforgettable experience that has shown me the importance of science in sparking curiosity as a young student, and the joy of connecting with other young scientists makes the journey of discovery even more exciting and inspiring. So if you haven't, I really encourage you to check out our website. You can look at all of the student IVSS projects from previous years, including Diego's, whose was a stipend recipient from the Latin America and Caribbean region last year. And then again, if you joined us a little bit late, here is our timeline for the 2025 IVSS. Reports will be accepted starting at the beginning of December through early March, and the projects will be judged in March, so from March 19th through April 2nd. And then feedback and results will be shared on Earth Day in 2025. Oops, sorry. And for more information, please visit our website. As I mentioned, it will be updated in the coming weeks with our 2025 badges and other information. If you have any questions, please reach out through our Help at NASA Globe website. And I will also answer some questions now. And I see some in the chat. So Mike, if you've been monitoring those and want to share anything.
Yeah, so there were a number of questions about accessing data from the Globe database. We're really excited that Globe has been collecting data for 30 years, but there very well could be places where Globe has only been collecting data for a much smaller amount of time. Anna, your question about it hasn't been occurring for 30 years. It doesn't have to be data that was from 30 years ago, right? It could be data that a school collected last year or the year before, and now you're using that data to make comparisons. We're just really hoping and I guess requiring the students to go in and use data that's been put into the database and make that part of their analysis.
Thanks for that, Mike. Does that help?
Yes, right. Angie, thank you, Angie, for your suggestion. You could also make comparisons between your region, your home, and somebody else's home, right? To be able to make those comparisons as well. Thanks. Yeah, there were many questions, Allison, about the database and if you didn't have access to data that went all the way back.
Great question.
Hey,
And
Allison, Brian, can I pop in a second with one of the questions here?
yes, thank you, Brian.
Yeah. So, Sophia, it's just in case people didn't see it in the chat, but Sophia asked if is worldview from NASA valid, and I, took it upon myself to say yes, it's valid. It's good data, but it's potentially there to compare to the Globe database data, which that's what we primarily want students to use as a Globe data. But as Mike was just mentioning, that some of that data might not be available for Globe, or it's not in a specific region for where the students want to do a research project. And it may be on NASA Worldview. We may have that space-based data in there. So it's a good source, online source tool for grabbing data to potentially compare or fill in the gaps of the Globe database. So,
Thank you, Brian. That's great.
And I see a question about using the Globe Observer app. Absolutely, you can use data from Globe Observer, you can enter data using Globe Observer. That is definitely encouraged as part of students' research. And Anna, I see a question, how do you ensure that jurors are knowledgeable about research and are trained to evaluate? So we do have a form that judges are invited to fill out when they are interested in volunteering. That includes, their institution, where they're from, and information like that. We also have a judging webinar to kind of walk through, which I know that you've been a part of, and thank you for always for serving as a judge. So we try to invite STEM professionals and scientists and get the word out that way. In addition, before we send the feedback to students, we also evaluate that feedback within the GIO to make sure, that the feedback is pertaining to the science and giving students constructive feedback on their research. So, our judges are volunteers and we greatly appreciate them. And so I hope that helps to answer your question, but we encourage scientists and other STEM professionals. We evaluate the feedback. We try to provide training on that on the judging process as well. Christy, I'm reading your question about your follow-up on the Globe Observer.
Sure, maybe it's better to explain. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so sometimes people get their entry point into Globe through Globe Observer app.
Mhm.
And this happens with students and also with educators. So if people are only using the Globe Observer app, but they're not actually a Globe member, their educator is not a Globe member, how does this work? If, they are doing Globe Observer, data collection, can they still be part of the IVSS, or do they need their educator to take the next steps and become a Globe member?
That is a great question. So Mike, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I think in order for students to submit, so in order for students to submit an
Yes.
IVSS project, they have to go through a Globe Educator account, not a citizen science account, which is what the Globe Observer accounts are. So they would need a student who is just engaging with the Globe Observer app would need essentially an adult to mentor them to create an educator account so that they could submit their project.
Great, thank you. That helps a lot.
Thank you for that question.
It's a great question.
And do we have protocols in Spanish? And yes, there are. Thank you, Anna. There are protocols in Spanish on our website.
Angie, thanks for sharing that.
My pleasure. It doesn't replace the globe data. It can complement it though.
Right. So similar to a worldview, right? And it's
Correct. Correct.
Thank you.
But very easy to use interface.
Right.
Excellent resources. Thank you, Angie.
And to IVSS, there's an option for graduates. So Allison, I don't know if you're seeing in a question of it says when uploading the research project to IVSS, there's an option for graduates. What does this mean for professionals, global alumni?
So Anna, I think that is probably an error in the upload tool Mike, I think we should evaluate for this coming year. Students, we accept undergraduate student projects, but they should be current students, so not graduate students and not graduates. So when we do triage those, we make sure that they are, K through 16. But that's a great point. Thank you for pointing that out. And Dennis, I think that I see your question about a research project to compare snow from Mount Kilimanjaro to other parts of the world. That is totally acceptable. We encourage students to use, other sources of Earth science data in addition to globe data. So that sounds like a great question to explore. And Mohammed, we have some resources on our website, particularly under the student resources page, to start brainstorming research questions for projects. So for this year, again, our theme is 30 years of Globe, understanding the past, present, and future. So a project, that might incorporate newly collected data if your students or if you are collecting data in your local community, kind of thinking about how things have changed over time is a great angle to take. But happy to brainstorm more if you've got some more specific questions. And also we'll have a series of webinars coming up that might also inspire you and your students to come up with additional research questions. And we do accept, so I see Sophia, after high school, students cannot participate. Students can participate who are undergraduate students, just not graduate students. And Christy, thank you for asking about the how-to for a thumbnail image. Um, yeah, as part of the when you upload an IVSS project, you have to upload the presentation, the document that includes the report. You also are invited to upload a thumbnail photo, which appears on the Globe website next to your project. And I think we can definitely provide some tips for educators for getting that photo to the right size. Try to make it as easy on you as possible. I know you have our educators have a lot going on, and we really appreciate all of the work you do to mentor your students. All right, and I see a question from Tammy. Is there a location to get a better gist of exactly how to get younger students started with the IVSS? Mike, what would you recommend in terms of pointing elementary educators?
Yeah,
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Tammy, it's a great question. So the elementary schools that we work with have sort of built Globe out around the other science that they're doing, and in particular, around the storybooks, it seems. And that was so the activities that were in the elementary Globe storybooks, teachers have then moved from that to protocols that sort of align with it. So it was a really nice, easy way to sort of bridge to being able to collect data that they could do to be able to submit and do for the IVSS.
Thank you, everyone, for contributing to the chat. This is a great source of information here. A wealth of Globe expertise on the call today.
So, Sophia, to your question, Brian, again, thanks, Brian, for bringing up Worldview. I think Worldview certainly would be a data source that would help fill in the gap between maybe two areas that you were looking at. But for the data scientist badge, it really has to be data that's already in the database as part of that data analysis. That's what we're really hoping. We're really hoping that the students start to look at the data that we've had over this long period of time of being a community. So, as well as contributing new data. We've had for the last, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Allison, I think for the last 3 years, we've allowed projects that really were, when teachers said they weren't able to collect new data, right? Their projects were based on data that was in the database. And some of the suggestions, Sophia, that people have made where you could compare your area to other areas around the world that data was in the database and things like that. And Brian's point is it would be incredible to be able to use another NASA, another data set from NASA that helped to fill the gap in between areas as well.
All right, and thank you, Haley, for sharing the globe visualization system link. We will be walking through that in the October webinar, how to access globe data. And Dennis, absolutely. You can collaborate with other globe educators. I think I saw Haley put a link to the Find a Collaboration Partner. There she is. Thank you, Haley, for pasting that link in again. But if you visit the Find a Collaboration Partner link on the Globe website, you can find partners there. And we highly recommend and encourage collaboration with other Globe schools.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. Hi.
I'm fine. I'm so happy to see you in the meeting. The problem this time, I'm so happy for seeing you for program, international group, the world. Our project, I have many projects for Muhammad Ali from intermediate school in Bahrain. I make many projects before in United States of America, in the globe, world globe, and I have many certificates from globe, and my project is very good before they making invitation to meeting the world in New York. But problem, this is project must be fees and also visa not easily. Please this year, please make easily for visa for United States, for embassy, make communicated for embassy until making visa easy, and also the fees of conference. It's very low or nothing because we are professors for this project. We wanted to discussing our project in United States. Please, I wanted to attend the conference this year because last year this is a problem happened for me for embassy to make visa. But this year I hope to take this visa easily to attend the conference in United States approximately in July from 15 to 18 July for every year. Thank you for all and you. I'm so happy seeing the meeting and you and to answer my questions. So much thanks for all team in you in the globe. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Lisa dropped a note in. Thank you, Lisa. So we're getting close to the end of our webinar, but if you have other questions that you think of afterwards, please reach out to us at help@nasaglobe.org, and we will do our best to respond as quickly as we can to your questions.
Excellent. Thank you all for joining us. We look forward to submissions from your students, or if you are a student yourself, we can't wait to see your research.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.